The movie begins at a hospital in Seattle. We see a couple, Sam and Will, who are expecting their first child. Since they were not married, Will had to ask for her father's permission to marry her, and we learn that Will is not on good terms with Sam's father. Sam warns him not to bring up his dad's boat, which he crashed on holiday with her parents. Will then heads to the airport. After finishing his meeting in Chicago, Will arrives at a hotel to meet Sam's parents. Her mother Paula welcomes him, and her father Tom offers Will a drink. Here we learn that Tom is a former Marine. Will eventually brings up the boat after seeing its miniature, and Tom gets enraged. At dinner, things get more intense when Tom learns they are planning to buy a place together, and he clarifies that Will won't be able to claim the money they put down for their daughter if they separated. However, Will refuses to take their help, which makes Tom more aggressive toward Will, while Paula tries to calm him down. Finally, as the situation escalates, Will decides to leave. The following day, Will wakes to Sam's call and realizes he is running late for his flight. Sam tells him that her mother called, and Will apologizes as he didn't get the chance to ask their permission for marriage, and her father got into him from the moment he met him. There is unexpected interference on the call. Samantha says there's something wrong and she's scared before the call ends. He tried to call back but couldn't reach her. Will leaves for the airport, and learns his flight has been delayed. Suddenly all the flights get cancelled. According to the news, there are reports of large seismic events off the Southern Californian coast, and they lost contact with their Los Angeles studio. Suddenly there was interference before the power went off. He leaves the airport and pays a guy some money to take him back to the city. He again tries to call Sam but can't get her, so he arrives at her parents' place, explaining what happened, while Tom is packing his stuff. Suddenly they see two fighter planes leaving the city. Since there is no power anywhere, Tom decides to drive to Seattle to get Sam, and asks Will if he is coming with him. Tom drives away with Will, but the city streets are cluttered. The cell services and the GPS are out too. They stop at a gas station, and Will fills up the gas while Tom goes to get supplies. Will is approached by a gang who attempts to rob him before Tom shows up, who pulls out his gun and scares them away. As they leave, Will complains that Tom should have told him he had a gun, but Tom claims that if they had taken the car, it would have been game over. Soon they were stopped on the highway, but Tom was able to convince the soldier by invoking his service in Marine, and he was allowed to pass to save his daughter. They keep driving and notice a train carrying army equipment heading west. At night, they are stopped by a police car. Will steps out to speak with them, but Tom realizes he is not a real cop. So he backs the car into that man, and they both escape. However, that man is still chasing them and rams their car, but Tom finally manages to lose him. As they continue, Tom tries to avoid hitting a deer and crashes off the road. A moment later, the police car arrives, and the man demands that Will get out of the car before Tom takes him down. Tom believes he may have broken his ribs in the collision. They tow Tom's car using the police car and arrive at a trailer park the next day. Everyone looks at them suspiciously when they arrive. At the garage, they meet Ricky, a young woman who can fix the car. They hear people on the radio calling for help. Tom notices a big bruise on his ribs and realizes it is a fracture. Ricky explains the car's problem but warns that it could break again. Tom offers her extra money to accompany them, but she initially declines. Tom tries to persuade her to assist him, so she offers to do it for $2,000. They load the car with the necessary equipment and then drive away. Will notices someone behind them that night. Tom tells him to stop and turn off the lights. He follows the car as it passes them, using its lights as a guide. Ricky hands Will a compass and shows him the spinning needle. Suddenly, a car approaches from the wrong side, hits the car they are tailing and drives off into a ditch. They stop to investigate and discover that everyone is dead except a man who is badly injured. Tom instructs them to return to the car, but Ricky remains at the accident scene. As they drive by, they notice that someone has stopped. They drive away after picking up Ricky. Will and Ricky talk later when they stop for gas. They look at the clouds and say they've never seen anything like it. Suddenly the lightning strikes a power pylon. It begins to rain. They drive through the storm for a while before stopping under a bridge for safety. The storm passed by the next day, and they continued their journey. They hear from a radio signal telling them there is still no cell signal or internet. Will insists on stopping at his friend's house on the way to get the car serviced. A roadblock soon stops them. The sheriff is suspicious, but he lets them through after Will explains. The radio continues to broadcast, speculating whether this is a Chinese or North Korean attack. Finally, Will arrive at his friend's house and finds Meg. She hadn't heard from her husband Adam for a few days because he was in San Francisco at the time of the incident. Will showers while Tom fills water bottles. Meg is furious that they don't know anything. Before they leave again, Will tries to reassure her that everything will be fine. They can see a crashed military jet as they drive on. Ricky believes it may have been shot down. They arrive at an abandoned water park, and find a helicopter flying overhead. Ricky searches the nearby cars for fuel and spare parts, while Tom and Will look for food and water. Tom tries to pick up 2 gas cans but is hampered by his broken ribs. That night, Will hears a buzzing sound, so they check their phones. Tom received a voicemail from Sam 2 days ago in which she conveyed that she loves him. As they continue, they see some people walking toward them on foot. As they go further, they see fire. Ricky suggests they turn around, but Will insists that this is the only way to pass. A woman stopped them by informing them that she had a flat tire. They attempt to assist, but are raided by a man who attempts to steal their gas. He demands Ricky fill their car, then steals the remaining fuel. They chase in an attempt to recover it, and Ricky is given the gun and shoots the tire, flipping the car off the road. They return the gas, but the man is still trapped inside the car, clutching the containers. They struggle to take them away from him, and the car blows up as they leave. Ricky soon insists that they pull over. She is upset because she believes she is to blame for their death. She regrets accompanying them and departs. Tom reminds her that she saved their lives. They stop until the next day. Will calls Ricky, but she does not respond. Finally, he wakes Tom and informs him that she has taken her belongings and left. They eventually drive away without her, and Tom's condition gets worse. They finally came to a halt when they noticed a train stopped in front of them after an accident. Will goes off to investigate, while Tom attempts to treat himself. Will returns to find Tom struggling to breathe, and he says that his lungs are collapsed. So Will punches a hole in letting the pressure out, which helps Tom to breathe. Will then puts him in the back seat and drives off. Tom tells Will that he felt bad after learning that his father left him to live with his other family at a young age. Tom then tells Will about his father, who was strict but still a good man. Will expresses his love for his daughter, and Tom makes him promise to keep her safe at all times. Will makes a promise before informing him that Samantha is pregnant. Tom informs him that he already knew because Samantha called them after dinner and informed them. As they bond, Will reveals that Sam crashed his boat as she was too drunk, and Will took the blame as he thought it was the right thing to do. Tom calls him a good man and says he will be a good father. As night falls, they reach a town and think they can find help. Will notices a few abandoned cars on a bridge before they are stopped by a group of people armed with guns and riding motorcycles. Will requests assistance for Tom, and they direct him to bring the car forward. Will instead reverse the car and are pursued by the bikes. He manages to knock the bikes down, but they are blocked by 2 trucks. Will drives toward one of them while Tom shoots, and they get past. The strain is too much for Tom, and he dies in the back seat. Will continues on his journey, but his car breaks down. Will is enraged and sets the car on fire with Tom inside. He continues on foot and attempts to hitchhike. A man pulls over with a gun in hand, and offers to take him as far as he can, but he confiscates his gun because he has family in the truck. The man turns on the radio, but nothing comes on. The man explains that no one knows what happened, but people are being advised to go to Canada because of air pollution. Will directs them to his father's house, but there is no one. He instructs his family to rest and eat. He says they can stay and take whatever they need, including the car in the garage, but he wants the truck. The man agrees, and Will leaves early the following day. He can see a devastated city from a distance. When the city nears, the air is polluted as ash particles fall from the sky. He takes a gas mask from a fire truck. He then walks up to the building and climbs a ladder into the apartment he shares with Sam. Will learns everything is destroyed, but finds a message from Sam written on the wall, telling him where to find her. He rushes to that address but is shot at by their next door neighbor, Jeremiah. Samantha rushes out, telling him to stop firing. Will and Sam embrace. Later, he informs her that her father has died and that he would not have survived without him. That night, Will wakes up to a rumbling sound. He gets up to check. Outside, he sees the northern lights, and finds a campfire. Will walks toward it and finds Samantha sitting around a campfire with Jeremiah. They tell Will what happened in Seattle. Jeremiah believes it wasn't an earthquake but a synchronized event in which a nuclear bomb was detonated, and then a virus took down the grid before anyone knew what had happened. Will doesn't believe it, and he later double-checks to make sure Samantha doesn't either. Will goes downstairs the following day and sees Jeremiah in his truck. Will asks him what he is up to. He claims he saw 2 kids and suspected them of stealing something from his truck. Will asks where are they now and Jeremiah leads him to the woods to show him. Jeremiah draws his gun as some deer pass by. Will informs him that they are leaving to travel north and invites him to join them. Jeremiah says that Samantha wants to stay. Will says he doesn't see any kids and learns Jeremiah has fallen in love with Sam and wants to get rid of him. When Jeremiah is about to shoot him, Will manages to shoot him first. Soon he hears a rumbling sound, and rushes back to Sam. They leave in the truck, as volcanic eruption causes a massive explosion of fire and ash. They race away from the engulfing cloud, barely keeping up with it but outdistancing it as it dissipates. They declare their love for each another, and the event remains unexplained as Will keeps driving. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and turn on the notifications to watch more videos like this.